Okay, in this video we're going to be removing the carburetor. We've done some other checks on the electrical system, on the compression system. Everything's fine, we're just not getting fuel in there. So we're going to replace the carburetor on this machine. So machines are all slightly different. Yours may look different, but the principle's all the same. So we're going to go ahead and look at that now. To start with, we're going to remove this cover to get a good look behind there. So yours may have clips or something in there, that's fine. Just remove this. Just set that off to the side. Now, on all these machines there's two screws or nuts that we need to take out. There's one here and one here. Yours may have a Phillips head screw, two nuts holding it in there. This one's got torque bits which look like a star-shaped pattern, so I've got one on the drill here. You can see there, you can buy these from your hardware store or you can just get a screwdriver version. So I'm just going to go ahead and remove these. I suggest taking photos of every step of the way here too, so when you start, take a photo of all around the back, everywhere. Just if you're not sure what you're doing, you'll at least be able to see how it went before you took it apart. So I'm going to remove these very long screws. They hold the air cleaner cover and the carburetor all to the engine, so we'll just go ahead and remove those. Okay, now we'll just peel that back. At this stage I can feel it's not really coming back, so we can see that the cable's coming in here. There'll be a cable coming in on yours somewhere. This one's attached onto here, yours may not be attached. So I'm just going to release that. Again, they all look slightly different, but the principle's all the same. So just have a look, find your way around, and I'm sure you'll have no problems getting it. I'm just going to pull that cable to the back for now, and we'll just twist this back over. So if we peel this back now, we can see the fuel lines. Now this is very important that these all go back the same way. So there's one fuel line coming in, and when you have a look inside the tank, I'll suggest you empty the fuel before you do this. But if you look inside the tank there, you'll see one line has a filter on the end. So I make a hook just out of some wire, and you just slide that in. And just pull that line out with the filter on it. Now you can trace that line with the filter, goes all the way in. I can see in the tank there where it goes, and it comes out this way. So that goes onto the carburetor here. You want to take note of that. So again, take a picture or make a diagram. There's another line that comes from the carburetor to the primer bulb, and that always goes to the short side on the primer bulb. I'll show you that in a minute. And then this return line, fuel comes back down to the tank. So there's three lines on this model. Yours may have two. That's okay, just take note of which line goes to where on the carburetor. So for now, I'm just going to remove these lines off the carburetor. They can just slide off. You might need to pry them off. Okay, so that can just sit there like that. We can pop this one back in the tank for now. Now this carburetor is free. There's a gasket on the back here which is like a piece of cardboard. This one doesn't look very good, so I'm going to have to order a new one of these with the carburetor. This cable, you can take that off. Now there's a couple of different ways these come off. This one you can just push out and just release. So again, when you look in there, you'll see there's a slight cylinder that the end of this cable sits in. So putting it back, we just slide it in and then it stays in there. I'll show you well, I'll just remove this first. So that carburetor is now free. If you have a look on here, there's a number on there, H1188, sorry, H118-38. So that's the carburetor number. So we can use that to order a new carburetor. So at this stage, I'm just going to put that aside, and that's the carburetor free. So now I would go off and order my parts, and I would usually get a kit that has the carburetor, fuel lines, fuel filter, spark plug. A complete kit for it is much cheaper. These aren't very expensive. You get a complete carburetor kit for anywhere between $15 to $20, so not expensive at all, and that's all you need to rebuild this machine. So I'm just going to show you another cable, another different type of cable. So on this machine here, you can see where it comes in just to the back here. Now again, take photos before you release anything, because sometimes these have several different holes, so you want to make sure you get it in the same hole. To release this one, you can just grab some needle nose pliers and just give it a twist, and that'll just come out. And again, to remove this carburetor, simply remove these two screws here. This one's only got 2 fuel lines, so we can take these 2 fuel lines off, and then the whole lot slides off, and that's your carburetor free. So let's assume that you've ordered all your parts and they've arrived. You can get your machine back. Here's your new carburetor. I don't have a new one at this stage, so I'm just showing you with the old one, but let's assume that's a new one. This gasket here is just like a piece of cardboard that'll come with it, so that will only go one way. You just line that up onto this surface here, and you can just rest your carburetor back there. Actually, before we do that, let's put this cable back on. So removing it, reinstalling it's the exact same procedure in reverse. So let's put that cable back on first. Put that back in position. We can go ahead and put our fuel lines back on. Again, we can just position or line this carburetor back over the holes, put the air cleaner back in position. We can tighten these screws back down. If you don't want to over tighten them, just nip them up. Let's pop our fuel cap back on. So when you put those fuel lines back on, just double check your diagram or your photo again to make sure they're around the right way. Secure this cable back the way it was. and that's it. You've replaced the carburetor, so it's not very hard at all. Now we can just go ahead, put our air cleaner back in there, air filter, put our housing back on, prime it up, and that'll be good to go. You've replaced the carburetor.